What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sand. And right now, I feel like $100,000.
You are listening to Inspired Insider with your host, Dr. Jeremy Wise.
Dr. Jeremy Weiss here with InspiredInsider.com, interviewing top founders and entrepreneurs. We're here with Jonathan. He is co-founder or founder?
Founder, but partner.
Founder by partner of Rocket Code. We're here at IRCE in Chicago. Jonathan, tell people a little bit about the company and who you guys serve.
Yeah, absolutely. We're an e-commerce software and services company. I guess fancy way of saying agency that does e-commerce exclusive work. We're based in Columbus, Ohio. A team of a little over 20 people. Nice. Little over 2 years old. We work heavily on the Shopify platform. Optimizely certified solutions partner, Shopify Plus partner as well. Our clients are Chubby Shorts, Kalo, Silicon Rings, Roan Apparel, nice. Particle, and the Internet of Things space, a bunch of others. But yeah, we've got basically an active client roster at any time of 15 to 20 brands, and working to aggressively grow our team and our business.
So, Jonathan, tell me your favorite client success story.
Absolutely, and so a lot of it'll be sort of certainly an anomaly of a success story, because a lot of our work is like heavy front-end UI, UX actually on the shopping experience.
Yeah. Like their site looks like crap and the before. So tell me the before and after this.
Yeah, so very much a lot of before and after web UI and UX. The story I was going to get into actually is more, it's in the returns and exchanges space. Oh. So returns and exchanges pretty much anywhere on the web or physically kind of suck, right? So you've got a vulnerable customer at a crappy time where they're unhappy with a product or they need something different, they got to return it. And most of the time you go online and you download a PDF and you send it into their customer service team, and hopefully you get an email back and all that sort of stuff. So we worked with Chubby's Shorts initially to kind of say we need to rethink this kind of from the ground up. And so we built an application that now lives at exchanges.chubbyshorts.com, where you go and you enter your order number, the email address you use to place the order, and the shipping zip. And if all three of those things match, we pull in all the line items from your order. Wow. And then in line you can exchange for a different size. You can return for credit. And then with that credit, you can get a gift card, you can refund to your credit card, or you can actually go through in a sessionized experience and shop the site and build your exchange order. Right. So for Chubby's, what that meant is a huge lift in Net Promoter Score. They were actually able to take 3 full-time employees off the CX team and repurpose them elsewhere in the organization.
They love you after that.
They love it. They love it. It's a real cost saver, right? And keeps clients happier. And then so in returns and exchanges, How
did you even think of doing that, though?
So it just, was kind of an area where it's a really crappy experience for a customer and a really crappy experience for a brand that only grows the bigger you get. So the more successful you are, returns are always a part of the business. It just continues to suck. And
because I know that, and people know that, but they don't think to create a solution for it. So how did that even come to your brain to create that?
I guess, generally speaking, an answer that I think a lot of people who come to work with us have heard before working with us is no, like not possible on Shopify or not possible here. Right. And we just kind of don't really think of things as not possible. We want to challenge convention and say kind of why not. And so we started there, iterated on it a little bit, and now we've got 3 or 4 brands live on it. We're processing 500 plus transactions a day, and across all 4 brands, they've saved multiple full-time employees. We're seeing the same results. So working to productize that. But that was really kind of a neat opportunity, especially when you think of being a software company, where we actually got to validate a solution in market with real data, with a real brand that's growing, and see results from them. And so that's kind of the championing story of maybe the last 12 months for us, and it's been super exciting. It has opened our eyes to really just looking for more and more opportunities to solve really, really unsolved, ugly problems in e-commerce.
What made you start Rocket Code?
So
it's a good story here.
Yeah. So I had a background in enterprise software development. I was an information architect, business analyst, doing things like building intranet systems for Hilton Worldwide to manage the brand standards.
You're an internet genius. That's what you're saying.
Definitely, sure. No, but did that. really fell in love with e-commerce because it was closer to the dollar than, we'd do a marketing site for a restaurant and we'd have to compare same store sales and try and show that we had some return on, try to show that we delivered some value for our work. And what I found with e-commerce was we could actually very definitively say, hey, look, if we structure this right, if we come up with a hypothesis the right way and do the right things, we can say that we made this change and it had this impact and that made your business better in this way. So it was closer to the dollar. But so I left that agency to run digital strategy and e-commerce for a vintage-inspired apparel brand in Columbus called HOMAGE, HOMAGE.com. They sell big into sports and pop culture and stuff like that. But really, love those companies, but had a lot of opinions about how I thought the business should be run and things I wanted to do. And kind of when I launched HOMAGE on Shopify Plus, we were the 9th brand to launch on Shopify Plus. I was super early in the Shopify Plus days. Knew a lot of the C-suite there, and kind of saw an opportunity to say, okay,
you saw it.
Yeah, put up or shut up. If you're unhappy if you want to run a business and you see this little niche of opportunity and can't help but not take it and wonder what if. So basically, reached out to Shopify, asked them if they thought I should do it. They said I should. Long story.
They said we have tons of business for you.
Yeah. Long story short, from there was Chubby Shorts sent us a $6,000 check to kick off a project. I was still working nights and weekends. The day that check showed up, I walked into our president's office, quit my job, and started doing Rocket Code full time.
How hard was that transition?
So the transition to starting it full time wasn't the hardest part. Taking it from being a job to a business was the hardest part. So 2014 was really a year of glorified freelancing where I had 2 or 3 people and working at my kitchen counter and everything was within my control.
I love to hear those days. Yeah.
So that felt really easy, right? It's like, oh, I can do this and make a bunch of money and all this sort of stuff. But growing a team from 3 to 15 and moving into an office and figuring out organizational structure and all that sort of stuff, the growth of our first real year was a challenge. So we kind of say 2014 was Rocket Code 1.0, 2015 was 2.0, and we're now kind of 3.0, and really in the last quarter of last year found our vision and hit our stride and kind of figured out who we are and what we were great at and who we wanted to work with and what we wanted to do. So
what's the different skill set it takes from going from that kitchen table, 3 employees to then 20 people? Because that's the transition for you, skill set wise, right?
Yeah.
As a leader, founder.
Yeah. I think for us, transparency has been huge. Vulnerability has been huge.
Tell me, what do you mean by vulnerability?
So talking to, telling our team when we don't know things and when we don't have the answers. Transparency, we're fully transparent on financials.
How did you come to that decision? That's a big decision to make too.
Wanted to do stuff differently, and I've been on the employee side, and I've kind of felt what is this company really doing? Why am I here? And when you want to tell someone what you need them to do, sometimes starting with the why and explaining how it makes a difference for them and for the business and all that stuff can be really important. So that, and then realizing what you're really, really bad at and finding people to help fill those.
What are you bad at?
So I'm sort of the sales and the strategy and the visionary, and operations and finance are not my thing, and we'd probably fall apart without that. So my business partner does.
So how did you find that business partner that did operations? Because that's also a partnership, a marriage.
Yeah, absolutely. We are certainly married in some ways. No, we had known each other for 6 or 7 years, and really kind of liked each other, worked in the same space, and always kind of wanted to find an opportunity to do stuff together. So. He does a lot he started in content and I started in commerce, and we kind of see the convergence of the two being a really important thing go forward. So, so we kind of said, hey, we've been talking about it, let's stop talking about it and let's do it. And I'm happy to turn over the reins to things that I don't want to be doing. So he just runs with it.
So Jonathan, what's the biggest mistakes you see people making on their site or in e-commerce in general? Because they come to you and you need to kind of revamp things.
Yeah. The biggest mistake I think is really just there's this perception, it's not even like the specific work or something UI or UX related, it's like this idea that you need to reinvent your site or replatform or launch a new web design every couple of years. And every time you do that, you're introducing some new and unfamiliar experience to your customers, and you're relying on a lot of assumptions. And so what I kind of say is that we should, if someone hasn't been to your site in 12 or 24 months, it might feel and look really different. But for the customers that you have that are, your lifetime customers and are going to be there frequently and back and forth and buying things often, that should change iteratively, and you should always be kind of a site is, for me, a living and breathing thing, and you should be investing in it over time and challenging assumptions that you have or challenging the way that you've been doing things before, and just kind of iteratively making things better and better. And that might mean that, 3 years from now you've redesigned your site, but it didn't happen overnight, and you didn't shock your customers.
Do it slowly.
Yep. Yeah, slowly, iteratively. Very much, that's as much part of our methodology internally as it is in the recommendations we make to our clients.
So who's your ideal customer?
Right now, brands really invested in growth, in kind of changing the game and doing important things. That kind of for us right now means if a brand's maybe on the low end a $5 million brand and on the high end a $100 million brand, they're kind of what I would consider mid-market. And they're maybe chugging along and doing really well, but maybe even almost in spite of themselves, or someone who has started small and put together sort of a band-aided and I've been a
Patch things up type of thing.
Patch things up, started with something cheap, had 5 or 6 different development partners, have a bunch of different code bases, not really know what's making their site perform well or not perform well, and kind of wants to get scientific about taking an approach to growth and investing in their properties on the web and how they, not only looking at the customer experience, but how they can make their experience better operationally, internally, for everyone that interfaces with their brand at any time. That's kind of our ideal customer.
Are there certain industries that do really well with Rocket Code?
Yep. I mean, apparel, fashion, retail, all that sort of stuff.
You've proven some of those out already.
Yeah, absolutely proven them out. And I don't think want to be an agency, and we don't want to be an agency that is kind of focused and says, hey, we do this one small thing really, really well. I think and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, but I kind of say that, taking some experience from having an Internet of Things client and a watches client and a shorts client and a lingerie client, like their customers are all different, and we can see what is conventional and what works across all of them and what is a best practice, and maybe what we thought might be a best practice or what we thought might be conventional that for some reason doesn't work in a certain area. And
what's the strangest client you've had?
Strangest client we have a client who sells arcade machines built on Alienware laptops from like $500 to $10,000. Wow. And it's not strange in that it's really, really weird, but it's unusual to see how many people are buying them online, and it really starts to challenge some convention on driving average order value up and how you do that, and what you think should happen when you add a product to your cart, and what interfaces they should see and what experiences they should have, because it's such a high ticket item that conversion rate's low, but revenue per visitor is still really high. And so those two things don't always go hand in hand, and it's kind of just really made us rethink a lot of the stuff that we thought was always true in the e-commerce world.
So, John, are there certain softwares or platforms that you like to use or recommend to your clients?
Yeah, I mean, softwares, platforms. We love Shopify Plus. We love Optimizely. We also look at and work with other platforms to keep ourselves sharp and make sure that to debate well, right? To debate well, you need to know your side and the other side, and you can't sit and talk about how some other platform's not well unless you really know that inside and out, and you can give an honest response. So we're always looking at other solutions, maybe not specific tools and platforms, but things like search and integrating a really great search experience is super important to us. Definitely. I mean, Shopify Plus is where we were born. They're certainly the biggest partner in our business, the people that we're closest with, and have kind of been the biggest part of our growth to date.
So, proudest moment since starting Rocket Code?
I mean, probably just today, every day, every week or every month for the last couple months. It's just been, the organization's just been getting better and better, and we've kind of reinvented ourselves and found some things that we love, and I think we've just got a great team, and we continue to build a better team. And
what do you do to build that team and better team? Because it seems like that comes through as really important to you.
Yeah, I mean, our people are pretty much everything to me. I think I was fortunate to work at an agency a long time ago where I knew nothing about the space at all, and I was the 10th employee, and they took a chance on me, and I spent 3 years there, and in 3 years they had accelerated my career to where I knew more than people who had spent 5 or 10 years in the space, and I just looked for people that we can invest in that way. And that doesn't mean that we don't hire people with pedigree, but we want people that are always open-minded, are always willing to learn new things, are always willing to be challenged. And then we invest a lot in training internally and, focusing on quality over profitability. And, if someone on our team wants to do something the right way or the way that's going to get something done under budget, we'll take the right way all the time. So it's just kind of building some of those philosophies and literally sometimes putting them on the wall. It sounds super cliche.
Yeah, what's on the wall at Rocket Code?
So my core ethic probably is from the Latin word meliora, means ever better. So basically every day we want to be better than we were the day before. Humility is also a big part of that. We check our egos at the door. No one.
That's a tough one.
It can be. It can be. What else? Insatiable curiosity. It's an Adidas thing, and we use a different derivative of it. But like impossible is nothing. I'm hard pressed to ever say that the answer is no. So we're always challenging invention, doing that sort of stuff. But yeah, those are some of the things.
So where should people go online to check it out?
Yeah, rocketcode.io. Someday maybe we'll have a .com, but
Who owns that? Can we get it?
We have offered money for it. It's a squatter right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But we'll end up with it. We'll get it. But rocketcode.io. You can check out our site. It's lean. We've also got a blog called ThinkShip on the Medium platform, where we just kind of try to share things that we know or that we learn or challenges that we've faced and stuff like that. So yeah, rocketcode.io and check us out.
Awesome. From IRC in Chicago. Thank you.
What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sand. And right now, I feel like $100 grand.